Alright guys, such coming here, and I hope you're doing that and enjoying your day so far with all the roster questions in recent days, especially whether Alluka is going to turn up to FaZe or whether Octane could be successful in getting him onto the Los Angeles Thieves instead. The OpTic guys give their perspective on what it's going to look like for FaZe if Alluka is on their sub bench, the pressure on Drazah and O4 to improve over this Christmas New Year Major 1 period if they want to keep their roster spot, but also whether Alluka should even be getting this opportunity given that he's effectively done this in one Challengers Cup weekend, and back in the day you'd have to do it on LAN multiple times before you got this type of an opportunity. But Mercules has indeed changed the game. Very much enjoy to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. But the big story in Call of Duty yesterday was undoubtedly this. Vince Zampella, effectively creator, at least co-creator of Call of Duty, his resume of games that he worked on and developed is absolutely out of control. And look, without Zampella, I wouldn't be here talking to you about COD because COD would not exist, certainly not in the format that it does. So an incredibly important individual in the history of video games full stop, especially in Call of Duty. Unfortunately, he died in a car crash in California a couple of days ago now. So really big story when this hit the timeline yesterday. It's also worth noting that there was a passenger in the car as well who also lost their life. So I think as yet unnamed, at least as the reporting that I saw yesterday. So yeah, rest in peace to them both. And I mean, look at this resume, right? It's out of control. Of course, Call of Duty was originally kind of like not exactly a port, but it was a follow-on for Medal of Honor Killer, this type of stuff. And that was the early discussion. So, you know, Zampella worked on Medal of Honor, then he started work on Call of Duty. Then after Modern Warfare 2, did the Titanfall franchise for a couple of times. Apex, Battlefield 6, of course, is now what he's most recently been working on, right? So, you know, he was lead designer, studio head at Infinity Ward for a long time, and as we know, many other high-quality video game design teams. So, yeah, a big loss to the video game community in general, and lots of people sharing their thoughts on just how important he was to, like, all of us who are part of this scene to some degree. As Infinity Ward say, rest in peace, Vince is one of the founders of Infinity Ward and Call of Duty. Always have a special place. Your legacy of creating iconic, lasting entertainment is immeasurable. Deepest condolences to Vince's family and loved ones upon this terrible tragedy. And just some comments from players. I mean, many players, of course, were giving their perspective, but it was kind of interesting to see some of the more OG players because they've, you know, met and interacted with Vince at some point back in the day. Doug says, thanks for changing so many lives. I think we got some comments from Zinni as well, and many others. Even Crimsic said this. The world lost an incredible person and an even better friend. Absolutely heartbroken, he says. So, yeah, a big story yesterday, as I say, not just from a Call of Duty side, obviously from a personal perspective, but also Battlefield and so many other franchises affected majorly by that. So, yeah, big story in the COD world yesterday. The other big development, at least in competitive COD, apart from this whole Alluka stuff, was some more drama on this. So when I talked about this yesterday, I was like, we're probably going to get a little bit more to this. And we actually got a lot more to this story last night. Again, it's one of those stories, it's like, oh, big day for the unemployed, right? Because like it might not be that big of a deal, but it is nonetheless pretty spicy. So, back in July, you guys might remember that Lynz was playing for Team War, and he wasn't able to attend very shortly before the tournament was due to start, so they had to play with their coach in, I think, Bink stepped into the team, and they, I'm almost certain they bombed out in last place. Look, would they have made a run with Lynz? Would they have made a run if they had time to get another substitute player? Probably not, but, you know, they might have made a bit more money, they might have made a bit more noise. So, Lynz at the time said this, we saw the tweet yesterday, I will not be going to EWC because of personal reasons, how I've been feeling recently, forced myself and pushed to play champs, need to take a break. Disappointing situation for me, good luck to the team and all that. So, that's what Lynz said at the time. Now, a couple of days ago, Bance came out with a clip on stream. This was really inspired because Lynz and his team was not letting Bance codcast their matches. Effectively, Bance has been trying to broadcast some of these European Challenger games so people can actually watch them, but the French lads were like, no, Bance, you're not coming in our lobby or watching our games. So Bance decided to go DEFCON 3 and revealed why Lynz actually didn't go to EWC. which he said was because he was quitting the vape and he had bad withdrawals quitting the vape, and therefore he wasn't able to go, was effectively the implication. Now, that was, Lynz then responded and said, I wish this was true and the only reason why. So as we said yesterday, implies that it was definitely one of the reasons, but Lynz says there were certainly other factors at play as well. So I thought maybe that would be that, and it's like, okay, it is what it is, we move on. But no, there is more. So we get this yesterday, which I found a quite remarkable statement, actually. This is official statements from Lynz's agent, and we'll see some further reaction here in a second. But Lynz's agent says this, official statement. Now, firstly, there's quite a lot of what you call M dashes in here. Now, look, I like an M dash, right? I used to use them back in the day, but nowadays ChatGPT loves them. So every time you see a load of M dashes, people always think, oh, is it AI generated? Maybe it's not, but just something that people were talking about. We want to address and formally deny false information recently shared regarding Lynz and his absence from the EWC. Contrary to what has been claimed, Lynz did not miss EWC because he stopped vaping 2 days before the event, which I guess is the implication of what Bant said, but still, not everything's fully adding up here, because then he says the information is entirely false. The reality is that Lynz chose to prioritize his mental health after experiencing significant personal difficulties. He was not initially supposed to attend the World Championship at all. Despite this, he pushed himself to compete, helped his team qualify for the World Cup, and only later made the decision to not attend due to his mental state. His teammates were informed of this decision well in advance, not 2 days before the event, and that is something where there is some debate, because that Bant's implication was effectively, look, he quit the vape, he was struggling to deal with the consequences, and he told his team just before that he couldn't make it and effectively screwed them out of an opportunity to play with a different player rather than their coach in the end. That was the implication, that Lynz effectively screwed over his team, right? Now, that is debatable, certainly by the agent and by Lynz himself, but there are other pieces to this puzzle. Vaping has absolutely no connection to this situation, which, look, it surprises me because Lynz in his own tweet said it was not the only reason, but it implied that it was certainly one of the reasons. Suggesting that stopping vaping is a bad decision is not only misleading but dangerous, which is a very strange sentence, because, you know, I think you'd have to ask Clayster about that one. Clay's quit the vape now for a couple of years and seems to absolutely think it's one of the best decisions that he's made. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that's easy to do, and people do deal with addiction and the consequences of such differently, but, you know, equally, if he has got himself into that situation and then is struggling with the withdrawals and isn't able to attend, then, you know, it's not like it's his teammates' fault, right? So then the agents say, encouraging unhealthy behavior or minimizing mental health struggles is unacceptable. We strongly believe that spreading false information for personal visibility is irresponsible. Publishing false statements presented as fact is harmful and in some jurisdictions illegal. So it seems to be implying that Bantz here is encouraging unhealthy behavior or minimizing mental health struggles. I don't really know if that's what Bantz was doing, to be honest. I think he was just revealing what he believed to be the reason publicly. But anyway, we want to reaffirm our support for anyone facing mental health challenges. Lynz decided to participate in the Movember charity tournament organised by Methods, and etc, etc. He's an esports player, not a traditional athlete. Mental health plays a crucial role in performance at the highest level. So that's the official statement coming out of Lynz's agent, effectively, and then we get a few further interesting replies. So Kenny Kyoko, who is girlfriend of ReeaL, who was on the team, so she knows what's going on here. She says, I appreciate Lynz's agent making a statement, but a majority of the statement is wrong. The truth is, Tom has always been trying to quit the vape for months, that being Lynz. He had withdrawals bad at certain point, and the team missed a lot of scrims. He was trying to get back to France and continued chalking scrims while travelling to different places in the state, attempting to get back home. His team continued to remind him to fill out his forms for the World Cup, and only got half-assed replies out of him. Then he missed the deadline intentionally, forcing his team to play with Bink, their coach, because the deadline has passed to pick him another player. So yes, he knowingly screwed over his team. Yes, he had chosen to quit vaping long before the World Cup, but it was affecting his mental health. His mental health issues are valid. Him screwing over the team is inexcusable. Stop trying to flip it to make it look like Bantz is roasting his mental health, but that's not what's happening. Because, you know, I think Bantz's implication was that he screwed over his team here, really. The reasons for that were different, and Kennedy seems to believe that, yeah, that's exactly what he did, in a roundabout way. Now, there's some further discussions here. Lynz actually puts this I don't know who this was messaging, but you can see the, Mercules or Wednesday, the 25th of June, and he says, I've kept playing because I don't want to screw over the team. My parents came here to help me and all this. I want to get back to France. So, but again, he's blanked out quite a lot of these messages, so it's difficult to tell exactly what was being said. And Kennedy says, look, your struggles are valid. Glad you seem to be doing better now. And not saying you wanted to screw over your team, but in the end, that is effectively what happens. And Kennedy then says he said he would be screwing from France, and he told the team he's going back to a visa situation. So if he was telling the team that he was screwing, then the implication was that he was going to be going to the World Cup, but he wasn't really filling out the form. So, as I say, big day for the unemployed, but that is all we know on the situation as it stands. We'll see where we go from here. Probably and hopefully nowhere else. Wishing the best for Lynz in his recovery and hope that he continues throwing in challenges like he currently is. Let's share a couple of clips on the Alluka drama because, as I say, this whole drama in challenges with Lynz just kicked off because they wouldn't let Bant stream the matches. And it's like, well, if you're not going to get shown, then how are you meant to get picked up at the end of the day? So that is the thing with Alluka. He's been streaming his PFEs. He's been looking pretty good. Certainly last weekend, the weekend before this most recent one's Challengers Cup, he was absolutely frying. And as a result, people were like, next Simp, next Merc, we've got to get him in the league. And apparently that might be happening. There's big rumours that FaZe have done the deal. Thieves either missed the boat or weren't interested, whatever. Other teams were certainly interested. We think half of the league wanted to sign this kid. Dashy reckons, damn, back in my day, I would never have been signed off one online cup performance. I had to do it again and again and again on LAN to even earn that type of opportunity. Huke says the same thing, but also, what are the implications for FaZe?
Alluka signed substitute to FaZe Vegas. This one's an interesting one, bro. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, bro, I'll be honest. Because... yeah, I mean, this is weird. Well, I mean, it's not weird. Well, it's unique because, like, you have this guy on the bench. So then, obviously, I'm assuming they want this guy on the main roster. So, like, are they waiting until someone's caught lacking? Or, like,
wait until someone starts scumming.
I feel like...
let's just say Simp is not going anywhere. That's just obvious for obvious reasons. Like, so it's really between the next three. We have a 33% chance it could be you. It's probably not Abuzah either. He's the main AR. Oh, it leaves it to 2. I'd be tweaking if I was like, Drazah's about to be grinding 8s.
I hear you.
Yeah, all good, all good. He's about to be saying all good for free.
Oh, dude.
Because if they don't get at least top 2, maybe top 3, they're considering a change possibly. You know what I mean? And then for your first team to be, I guess. That roster it's not a bad one, especially for a rookie. I mean, not everyone gets to basically be Mason or like
not everyone gets a team with goats.
Yeah. But like who's like other rookies, like I guess Dan also. But like it is harder for rookies to come into the league into a really good situation.
Not very often as a rookie you get put on like.
Yeah. Like even me when I was a rookie, bro, my team wasn't the greatest. Same thing with like even JoeDeceives, he was on LAG, right? That wasn't the best situation.
It's just unique because like they are like FaZe, like you see that roster or whatever the fuck. I mean, obviously people were saying that they're gonna be not as good as their previous roster, but
yeah,
like them signing this guy now it just puts so much pressure on like
some of the players,
04 and Zach, to where like
they know that it's inevitable.
Best case scenario, they literally
that's a part of it. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what makes it like just fucked because like they literally have to win. They either have to win or get like insane, like be consistent
or
from here on out.
Really well, yeah. Pressure bursts pipes or builds diamonds.
Because
like, did I make that up?
It's a bar.
I mean, I mean, obviously, like basically, like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I feel like in esports, it's just so different, bro. Because like you practice and then like you're practicing the two streams a day, and then like, you guys are going over shit, and then like because I've been a part of this shit too. Like even last year, like
this kid had a legendary PR run though. Like this is what you call capitalizing on.
Bro, low key, like I don't know. I feel like someone's got to play on LAN before you can just fucking.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like I heard Donnie say this on the flank yesterday, and if like some people looked at it like he was hating, but I'm not even joking. Like I thought he was just spitting facts. But whenever I was competing, even though I was frying in like 8s online 2Ks, bro, nobody gave a fuck. until like you basically did it on LAN multiple times. I'm not even joking. Like
that's how it used to be.
So should Alluka be getting signed off one Challengers Cup? I think it's still a very valid question. At the end of the day, times have changed, but what Dashy and Huke go on to say is not wrong. Back in the day, if you would be frying in H, you'd be frying in Challengers or Tier 2, whatever. It wouldn't matter. The pros would think, okay, this kid's, he's an onliner, he's an online warrior, his internet's insane or whatever, and we'll have to see it on LAN. Now, most of the time, those players that were accused as such were actually just really good. And I think that over time people have started to recognize that. So I'm kind of glad we don't live in the world anymore where players are constantly accused of cheating, constantly accused of being massive online warriors. It's not really a thing nowadays that as it was 10 years ago, but it's still relevant to a degree, right? Like, famously players like Blastful, I think is kind of the most standardly cited example of players who are very good online, but never really delivered at a LAN tournament, right? So, and to be fair, those examples are actually relatively few and far between. Most players, even if initially they weren't great on LAN, they eventually figured it out. There is an argument that one Challengers Cup is not enough to make a decision like this, especially to go to a spot like FaZe, but equally, given the historical precedent in recent years, you can understand why that decision might be made. And also, I think there is some advantage in, look, yeah, it's not great for Drazah, in the sense that he's got to be pretty concerned. As Dashy says, he's going to be grinding 8, I'd imagine, to make sure that he's playing the game at the highest possible level. But also, that could be great for Drazah, all right? It could be great for the team. If he is more incentivized to play and to work harder and to try and improve his level, which has been lacking so far in Black Ops 7, then that's probably going to be good for the team and for his future prospect as well. So, two sides of the story, as always. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.